Hello, this is Shankar, and today I'm going to discuss on a multiple issues where I will talk about what is the role of fourth house and how important is the fourth and the fifth house, both in your people for shares and those who are trading in shares. What is the, fourth house and fifth house are usually taken for, domestic peace and basically for children, love, etc. And sometimes fifth house is taken for speculation also. But today, let me talk about houses in terms of financial world. What is finance? When you talk about finance and how do you look at your financial status in terms of planets? Let's talk about houses first. The planets first only color it. So first house is you. When there are planets, the first house, it means you will go out to earn money. So I'm going to talk about finance. I will cover some combinations which will tell you where you can make money, how you can make money. Then some combinations on shares and something which I've learned about shares and trading, which I myself have never done. I am not into a stock market person. I've never dealt in stock markets. I am a fixed deposit person myself. Whatever money I save is in fixed deposit. But I have been studying this, so in the end, I will tell you a little bit about that. Let me tell you about the houses first and how they impact your financial stuff. So it is houses which is more important. The planets color it. Repeat. Houses. First house is yourself. So the planets there will only tell you that you are going to earn money yourself. You will be actively engaged in the profession and you will be a face when you are doing the work in terms of making money, in terms of whatever you do. Second house. Second house is a house where it pertains to speaking, it pertains to food. These are two very important things. And it pertains to chit fund or small money which you can trade. So second house, if you are going to, is the house where you can earn money by speaking, the hotel industry, and by a little bit of chit fund money, which you call committee, etc., which people call, you get into together and, you make a chit fund and somebody gets it. Second house. Third house is the house of bravery, where a person makes money due to sports, something where some bravery is required, armed forces, bold decisions. It is also a house of where you talk, communication, contacts. Now, the planets, they will color it. So, again, I'm repeating, but important is the house. So, I'll come to the planets later. I cannot cover everything, but I'm giving you an idea. So wherever I'll come to that later. Fourth house is the house of the money of the masses. It is the money of the other people which you want, or the masses. It is the money of the government. It is that. Fourth house is that important, right? Fifth house is the house where you earn from that money. From where you earn from the money means the government gets the money. It is the money from the masses through taxes, etc., which is there. Treasury, which is kind of a treasury, which is there. And fifth house is the house second to fourth. So it is a money where you have to, you can get out of that. You can earn from that. You get a part of the money which the government has taxed the masses and kept. So that is fifth house. So it's also money in general in public. So fourth house is very important that way. Sixth house is the house of where you are dealing with, again, working yourself, using your foot to work. Where you are using your foot to work, day-to-day routine, where you're earning money, where you are doing a job or something which has a schedule. Sixth house. Seventh house is the house of partnership, business, and you can use it for a varied number of things to make money out of it. Eighth house, since I'm not only of finance, I'm talking of the houses in terms of finance only. Now, 8th house is the house of hidden money, undeserved money, speculative money, the money which you has not been taxed, you've not given the tax, or you've not, you are not supposed to be, you have not, it's money where you have not given the tax to the government and not followed the rules of the government. Also, it is the money of the underworld. It is also the money coming from foreign countries. It also depicts very complex structures of money which is made by paper. You make complex, kind of funds where you have revolving funds, and you have paper where you make a matrix. Some money is put here, some money is put there, this money goes there, and you have a circulation of money. This debt is bought by this investment, etc., etc. Complex structuring of funds, which is done, is also 8th house. 8th house is a very important house as far as money is concerned, and sudden gains also comes from 8th house. 9th house is money which you earn through religion, philosophy, ashrams. Today, everybody is earning money through that. It's also a house of luck, so it's an important house where luck should favor you. 10th house is the house of your karma, the work you put in, and depending on the planet there, it depends on what you work. Where are you working? What are you doing? The way you are working, conducting yourself in terms of work. And what it basically tells you the environment in which you're working. If you have Venus in 10th house, probably you're working in a good environment. If you have Saturn in 10th house, you are working a little hard. Some kind of hard work is required. Things to that effect. 11th house is the house of where you gain money, where you have invested, and because it is opposite to the 5th house. So it also shows that it's gain of money. I mean, money which you have gained from the 5th house is opposite to that. It's opposite of 5th house. 5th house actually is the money of which I told you, the masses. And so 11th house is when you gain from the masses, how you use it for yourself and how you distribute it to a network of people. So when you have money it is distributed between partners, between institutions, between people. How it is done, that is 11th house. And also you can earn money by that collation of things. That is 11th house. 12th house is a very important house. 12th house is opposite to 6th house. And 12th house is the house of giving. It's also the house of investment, therefore. Because when you give money to somebody, you're telling him, Mera paisa lo, laga do bhai. That is what you do. When you are trading in shares, when you're trading in, derivatives, or whatever, let's say share market, what are you doing? Or mutual fund, what are you doing? You're giving your money to somebody else. And you're telling him, please invest it on my behalf. So you are giving. Anything which is giving in 12th house, and we're talking about money, so 12th house is very important. 12th house is the most important. It's also the house, I feel, for business also. 12th house is house of business also. Because 6th house is a house where you may try to do, you may have that desire, because it is opposite to the 12th house. The desire comes to do business, but mostly people in 6th house do not do business. But 12th house is a house of doing business, where you are not structured. In business, you can decide your own day. So it's also a house of business, is also a house of investments. Apart from being a house of spirituality, etc., which I'm not here, I'm only focusing on finance. So this is what the 12th house say. Now let us understand people who are doing government jobs. Let us understand which are the planets and what do they signify. Venus. Venus is a house which is very, very, acutely connected to the emotion of money. Because suppose you are doing anything, you are buying anything, you buy because of an emotion. Even share market, लोग कहते हैं ना, because I will tell you about share market something later. So, कहते हैं emotion बहुत बढ़िया हो गया. Emotions have increased. The emotion is there. People are putting money. The share market is going up. So Venus is that engine which works along with Moon to put that emotion up. Venus is a planet of show and glamour. So it is what is perception. Venus is also your, a company which it shows its kind of what is the valuation of a company. That is Venus. A company which has a strong Venus, it will be able to show that with 100 rupees, it is able to show the valuation of the company is a crore rupees. That is the valuation of the company. Venus is therefore very important as far as this is concerned. Now let us come to another important planet which works around Venus, which is Mercury. Mercury is all to do with paper, and Mercury is to do with communication and talking. Like when you're dealing with stocks, etc., you keep on talk on the phone. You get some tip, then you say, okay, let me do this, and you take action on that. So Mercury is a very important planet in terms of you making money by computer, contacts, and communication. The three C's: computer, contacts, and communication is all Mercury is there, right? Now we come to the most important planet, which is Moon. Moon is the fastest moving planet, we all know that. And Moon is basically the emotion. It is the emotion which is there. Now, a strong moon is important for certain things, and a weak moon is also important for certain things. Like if you're in the film industry, you will have to people have a weak moon because they start crying very quickly, they get very emotional. And even if that is not required, if before the camera they have to project emotions and they copy the emotions of people, you don't need a strong moon. You actually need a moon which is not very strong. But I'm here talking about finance. If finance is concerned, the moon has to be strong, right? So moon, we will discuss it in details if I have the time, and if I don't get tired, I will complete the whole thing of a moon. I've discussed Mercury, Venus, and Moon. Sun. Sun is important, but Sun is government. Sun is not even government. People misconstrue it as government because Sun is said as king, etc. Sun is not government. Sun, to some extent, talks about growth, because whenever Sun gets involved with something, it shows growth of that particular place, because it is in the natural, this thing is the house of fifth house. The fifth house is the house of children. So when you talk about finance, Sun बच्चा पैदा करता, मतलब you are buying here, you're buying there, you're at the end of the day you see when you calculate, you see, oh, I've been able to make so much of money, my growth is so much, and I will invest in another. I've also invested today in another stock, right? I'm just taking the example of the stock because it's easy for you to understand. The Sun is a planet which talks about growth. So I've covered Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, and Venus. So important planets which are here are these. Now let us come to the bigger planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. Jupiter is a planet of knowledge. Wherever it is a teacher. It will give you knowledge, wisdom. It gives you intuitive power. If it is strongly placed, क्या करना चाहिए कर देते हैं, देखा जाएगा. मेरा बहुत experience हो गया. I have the experience. Let me do it. Let me go ahead with it. That is what Jupiter does. Saturn again is a planet which is actually governed by Rahu and Ketu. Saturn is a planet of your karma, where Saturn says that, have you read? It's a planet where when it comes to finance, it is an important planet where it shows, have you gone into the depth of a particular thing? Saturn is going deep. Saturn is said to be governing under the earth. Under the earth does not mean that you go under the earth. It means that have you the nature of your thing is whether can you go under the earth? Have you studied properly? Have you researched properly? So that is what Saturn is all about. So now you have to see where what planets are placed. And when we come to Rahu and Ketu, Rahu is a planet, whichever it placed, it amplifies that. It makes you more risk-taking. It makes you more, if Jupiter says and Saturn says you should not put more than this 10 rupees, you say, let me try with 12 rupees. Let me do some, what you call future options, whatever it is. And this thing, they try to do that. So that is the risk-taking part of it, which is there. So that is what Rahu does. Good, you will succeed. Bad, you will not succeed. Ketu is a planet which is cuts. It is not good, especially for people who are dealing with shares. it says it doesn't have a head. It, it is just a below part. So it just totally goes on intuition. Sometimes you make money, sometimes you lose money. And Ketu is a planet which can create problems. I was seeing, I kept on seeing the horoscope of Harshal Mehta. It was Ketu which brought the downfall. Ketu as a planet in his horoscope brought the downfall. So, so you have to understand this. Now you see which planet is placed where, how strong it is, and how weak it is. And then you decide what has to be done. The planets which are important for you to make money, for you to earn money, is the second house, which is important because it is fifth from the 10th also. Let me explain you the other way around. What are the kind of jobs we have? We have jobs in the private sector and we have jobs in the government sector. Now, what does one important planet which I forgot to tell you is Mars. Mars is all about taxation. Mars cuts. It gives away. It cuts you. It's like when you come to finance, it cuts. Mercury is about how to make money, how to join things, how to put the two papers together. And Mars is about how to cut the paper. It is also about how to make money. From a pool of money which is owned by another person, how you get a cut out of that. That is what Mars is. My experience and very right. So let us talk about, there are two kinds of jobs, the private jobs and the government jobs. Now, when we talk about jobs, I'm relating it to how you can earn money. Now, government jobs, people feel that, it's related to 10th house, it is, etc., etc. But what I feel is that in the case of the government jobs, the 4th house is the house, the place where the government makes all the money and puts it. The government servant is doing the job for the government and taking your money. So a relationship, and 5th house is the second house from the 4th house. So he is earning money from the 4th. 4th is what? Is the taxes which I and you pay, because of which the government has a pool of money. The government officer or anybody who is aligned to government, he is working with that and making money out of that, which is the second house, that is the 5th house. So for a government job, the 4th and 5th house becomes very important. Now for a private sector job, it is the 7th house which becomes very important. For a private sector or a job which you want to do on your own, which you are independent, the 7th house becomes very important. Luck is 9th house. Now we talk about other parameters. Speculative money, 8th house, big money, which I've explained to you is 8th house. Planets in 8th house will do that. 9th house is sheer your fortune, but it's just that you have to see whether your fortune is not negative. 9th house is all about fortune. 11th house is how you use the money which you have earned between a group of people, or how you earn money through a group of people. 9th and 11th are correlated to each other because 9th house is 11th from 11th. So it means how you earn money from the big institutions which are engaged in dharma, in sects, ashrams, philosophy, political science, economics. All those things would come under 9th and 11th kind of thing. 12th again is a person who manages portfolio investment, takes some money from a lot of people, you give it to him, he goes and invests it. So that is what 12th house is all about. Now, when we come to talking about earning money, now I've explained you how to see money to earn from the government and how to see money from the private. What is important here is you have to see which are the planets where. If you have a cluster in 4th house, 2nd house, 5th house, you can align it to one thing. seventh house, and the characteristics of the planet have to be applied. We also know the exaltation, debilitation, I assume, of the planets and the houses, which is the lordship of the planets, which is very important, which tells you the basic strength of the planet. Which, I mean, so it is first see the house and then color it with the planet. It is a theory which I always apply, and it's a mix of my reading of KP, Nadi, Lal Kitab, so many, etc. Is houses are more important. The planets in them gives the color to those houses. So that is how you have to see. I've told you about the houses and how to see the financial aspect in those houses. So you have to see which planet is placed and then come to a conclusion to that. So like acting. Acting can never happen unless until there is a relationship of Venus and Moon in the 4th house or the 10th house or the 7th house. Venus and Moon have to be related. When you talk about a chartered accountant, Mars has to be there, taxation. Anybody in taxation, Mars has to get related with your 4th house, 5th house, 2nd house. There has to be a relationship with Mars. Now, when we talk about stocks and shares, the most important thing you have to see is Moon. How strong is your Moon? If your Moon is not strong, do not enter the share market, because you are dealing with a market which works on sentiments, and you are also working with sentiments. So it doesn't gel. So those who do not have a strong Moon, especially those who are born in Amavasya, like I am born in Amavasya, please do not deal with stocks. A Moon which is highly afflicted, please do not deal with stocks and shares. But if you have a strong Moon, and best way to see a planet is, if you have to deal with things where you have to be solid, then the signs, the Moon should be in fixed signs. That is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. These are, I mean, you have to understand, don't forget the basics. I mean, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius are fiery signs. So anybody who is in army, police, etc. will have a lot of planets in 1, 5, 9, and that's how you have to see. Plus you have to see the lot where the planet is. Similarly, when you are talking about finance and making money, you should have a very stable Moon, and if your Moon is in 2, 6, and 10, that is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, it is very good for you to do anything in finance. Even Moon in the house of Leo, Sun's house, is very good, because Moon is liquid cash. It is in our terms, Moon is liquidity, Moon is cash. So whenever the cash has to increase, Sun, as I told you, gives a flip. So those who have Moon in Leo, and suppose you are a Cancer native and you have a Leo sign and you have a Moon there, in, let's say, even in the nakshatra of Magha also, I mean, then also you are going to make money, because at the end of the day, there also you are going to cut something. You will make money by, cutting things very fast, day trading things. So Moon and Sun is also good. So this is first thing you have to see when you're dealing with Moon. Second thing you have to see in your horoscope is your Mars. Mars is a very important planet as far as the stocks and shares, etc. is concerned, which I told you about it, because Mars is the planet which cuts. So you should know when to go in and when to come out, when to book profit. That profit booking is by Mars, it's not by Mercury. Mercury tells you to invest. Mars tells you when to come out. So a good Mercury and a good Mars, excellent. So Mercury is the investment, Mars is या कब वापस कब बाहर निकालना है. Ketu is about cutting. So what is Ketu is only for those people who are dealing with a good Ketu, who has it will mean is on very small penny stocks like 8 rupees, 7 rupees. You do it, places where you do intraday trading, people are doing with a low level of money, and you actually don't invest but get money towards the end of the day. That can only happen if Ketu is well placed, right? Now, when you Jupiter involvement has to be there when you're dealing with, let us say, I'm talking about share market because that is knowledge. If you have to make it very big, Saturn has to be strong. A combination of Mercury and Venus is very important because Venus tells you the emotion. Venus tells you the glitter behind a particular stock. Your understanding to understand the valuation of that stock. The glitter which is shown is actual, the glitter not, because that is very important for you to see. What is the glitter in the stock? If you can understand that this stock is being just pumped up, is going down, that comes only by Venus. So Venus is the yardstick which tells you to see what is the valuation of a particular stock. Mars is when to come out. Mercury is when to go in. Moon is your mind. Sun is the peripheral growth. Jupiter is the knowledge, and Saturn is what have you bought in your destiny? How much are you going to earn from this particular whole thing? What is your deep research which you have got, your hard work which is there, which you put in, the ability to sit and to analyze and do things, that is Saturn. And whenever Rahu comes with Mercury, it comes with Venus, it gives a kind of a ambition which is a little more than required. And if other things are good, people are the big, the names we hear about, the Junjunwalas and, the other names which are there in the share market, which are there, it makes those. This is what is basically how you have to see if you are going to do trading. You have to have these planets fairly strong in the order of Moon first. Mars should be fairly strong. There should be a connection of 4th and 5th house. Mars should be second strong. Venus should be also strong enough because then you understand when to come out. And Mars is very important because and Mercury is the investment part of it. Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, add and delete, subtract in making you big you are. If you're dealing in crores, you can make it. So that is increases the river, the length and the breadth of the water of your financial strategy or your financial engineering, which I call. And this is not also instruction, it will also be applying for any business, any person who is doing a startup today, every second person. So these are very important things which you have to see. And no house is unimportant, including 12th house, which is a very important house, which is there because when it comes to big money, 12th house is very important. So billionaires have a lot of 12th, 6th, 8th there, 12th and 8th there with 5th combined, and the right time. Plus horoscope should have the right dasha which should be there. I mean, it should not be the dasha of a very negative house. I do not say house again. The planet should not be in a negative place. That is important. So that every house has a story, is your body. Now the planet in it puts the energy in it. So, and I'll explain about the energy in it. Now people keep on asking me about shares, and what I have seen, I have been researching on this. Now, one tip, and you should try it out, and which is not is positive as well as the negative trip. Saturn comes into Purvabhadra Nakshatra, 1 degree. And in a month, it moves to the first pada, then second, third, fourth, like that. 30 months, 1 degree, it moves in a month's time, right? Now, as soon as it enters Purvabhadra Nakshatra, whatever time, please note that time. First of all, see at that time what time Saturn moves into, into Purvabhadra Nakshatra. Example, because Saturn is moving to Purvabhadra Nakshatra. See where your moon is placed. The moon will be also transiting at a particular place when Saturn is there. Now you see which is the where moon is placed, in which, let's say, you for a moment forget about the nakshatra, moon is placed, moon will be in Pisces, I think, on that day. Suppose moon is in Pisces on that day. And it's a 1 month period. Look at your moon, how it is placed from this moon. If it is 6th, 8th, if it is 6th, 8th from this moon, then in that 1 month, you should be very careful while you are dealing with stocks. Like moon is in 12 pieces when Saturn moves into Purva. As soon as it moves into the last charan, that is, the Cancer part of it, right? See where the moon is at that time. So two things will become very important. One is, please see the planets in your Cancer, in your Cancer sign. One. But the most important thing, see how the moon is placed as soon as Saturn enters there. If it is 6-8, that particular month, you have to be extremely cautious while you are dealing with the stocks. 6-8, I'm saying. I would also say 2-12 is not good, which traditionally we know that. Then you do not deal. Second month, again, you have to see as soon as Saturn enters, where moon is transiting at that time, at that particular time. And see how it is placed to your natal moon. If it is 6-8, 2-12, 3-11 also, not great, 3-11 then, but 6-8, 2-12, please be extremely cautious for that particular month. This is my advice. Then, further, if you have to see things, then you have to see how your moon trends. If you've got a strong moon, you have to see how the moon trends with respect to the transiting moon, and how does the market react for a period of 30 days in terms of, like, till the Amavasya. How does the moon react? And keep the highs and lows for a particular month. When your moon is negative. These would be your threshold points where you have to be careful in the market. When your moon is the negative, when your moon is 6-8 from the moon, when Saturn, for that 1 month, study how moon is working in its cycle of Purnamashi, Amavasya, that 30 days. And in that, if you mark the right points and the highs and lows in that particular point, then when your Saturn transits the next degree, and for that 1 month, then with this you can then, taking that as the yardstick, as the your base, as your base chart, when your moon was 6-8, or you can go back and do it, when your moon was 6-8, taking that as a yardstick of how the stock market behaved. Then when the Saturn transits into the next pada, then the moon will be at a particular point, and suppose that is at 5-9 from your natal moon. That is, the moon, when Saturn transits from the every this thing, one pada to next pada, it will again, I'm sure people would understand this in astrology. I hope I may be able to make you understand. Saturn in Purva Bhadra pada will be for 1 month. Then it will move to the 1 degree 1 month, right? So every degree, as soon as it moves to the second pada, the charan, the second charan, from Cancer, it will go to Leo. It will go to Leo. So one thing you should always see, what are the planets in Leo, which I have told you. But suppose that at that time your moon is 5th and 9th, and you have a chart of what was the issues when the moon was 6-8, then keeping those highs and lows into consideration, you should plan your buying and selling of your stocks. And in that, you should always see Mars. When is Mars entering into a particular sign or a particular nakshatra, and when it is coming out, and what has been the fluctuation at that time. That point you have to be see it very important, because that is the point when you can get in, when you can come out and make profits. If the relationship between your natal moon and Mars, transiting Mars, is good. So it's an easy method, and you can follow it. But the only tip I would like to give, which everybody can follow, is when Saturn enters into Purva Bhadra, then the moon would be placed at a particular point. If it is 6-8 for your natal moon, please do not venture in stocks. If it is 2nd, 12th, do not venture in stocks and shares. Easy method to understand. Then it will go to the next thing, that is Uttara Bhadrapada, first nakshatra. It will be there for 1 month. In that, also when it is in Cancer, look at the planets which are in Cancer. They will play an important role in the stocks you have to buy. If you have planets in your Cancer sign in your natal horoscope. Then when it goes to Leo, then see a Leo thing. But suppose your moon becomes 5-9, it's a good time to trade. And how to trade? The trend would be the trend which you set when it was 6-8. That time you don't trade, but you just make the chart of what were the highs and lows. And those would be your points where you have to be careful, and also time for invest. Coming out is always will be guided by Mars, but that would be complex. But and that would be, of course, for people who are dealing with share market on a day-to-day basis. But that is how. But I've tried to explain for a common person how to see that whether for a month you should be trading or not trading, and certainly not trading when Saturn enters. See where the moon is transiting. See your natal moon. If they are 6-8, 2nd, 12, do not enter. I'm repeating it. If it is 5-9, you should see it. But when you should come out, look at your Mars, go back in your chart and see when it was 6-8, make a diagram from, everything, every statistics available. Those are the highs and lows where you can actually exploit, and be careful. So the negative at that time becomes the positive of now, when your period is good. But the caution to a lot of people is that whenever Saturn enters, please look where the moon is. Look at your moon in the natal. If it is 6-8, 2-12, be very careful in your chart. And this is just a 1 month process. And you have to see the point of the moon where, as soon as Saturn changes, see the moon in transit, and then see it with your natal moon. That is how you have to see it. That gives you a good idea whether is it a good period or bad period. Then whether how much you should go in, when you should trade, etc., would depend upon the cycle of moon which you should prepare. When your time was not good, and use it as your highs and lows for your trading, and use Mars, the changing of Mars in various nakshatras, in various padas, to come out, to make profit, because Mars is all about cutting, taxation. It's like a soldier. You take it out and you make profit. Look at Mercury for investing, Venus for a better understanding, Moon for emotions, Jupiter for knowledge, Saturn is your hard work, which I've told you just not to do, Rahu is for taking a little bit of risk, and of course it will also depend upon your basic horoscope. If your moon is not good, please do not get into the share market. So this was because I've got a lot of queries to make understand. So after a lot of work, I've given you a tip as to when certainly you should be very careful. That is when Saturn enters, look at the moon where it is in today is in the transiting position. When the Saturn enters, says Purva Bhadra, look at it, little moon 6-8, do not enter 212, be careful. Similarly, after 1 month, Saturn will go to Uttar Bhadrapada, it will be there for 1 degree, it will travel 1 month. As soon as it enters, see where the moon is at that time, see it with your natal moon. If it is 6-8, 212, do not enter. If it is good, it's a good time. But also look at your entire chart. Mars is a planet for making cutting, coming out and making profits. Because you are making profits, again, fourth house is very important, because you're making profit out of other person's money. A lot of people have put money, you have also put money, you are intelligent enough, you have made gains out of it by being at the right time. That is Mars. Mercury makes you to invest. Venus gives you the idea of telling valuation, which I've tried to understand, make you understand. So this was shares I was making you understand, because this is one thing where people today are dabbling with it. So if astrology has got a correlation, try it out, because moon is very important. So this is the way you need to try it out. But my video was to explain you the houses and the planets in the houses color. How will you get money out of them? It is the houses which are more important. Planets give the methodology of you to earn money there. Of course, the strengths, etc., will tell you how high, how long, what is the depth, length, breadth. That, of course, you have to see hundreds of things before you come to a conclusion. So this was my, like trying to explain people about financial astrology, finance, money, telling you about the importance of fourth house. I hope you would have liked this video, and I can go on and go on. I've tried to explain things, tell things a number of times over and over again, but just for the reason that we should comprehend it. That's my main logic. And I there at 9818733000 for any questions. You can write to me. Thanks, and thanks for listening to me. Bye. Thank you very much.